So I studied mourning doves this semester, and the behavior I analyzed for this particular video was the act of sitting up high in mourning doves. This is one of two examples in this video. So in this video clip, you can see mourning doves in the distance sitting up high on that telephone pole. I did develop 4 hypotheses in regards to the examples you will see in this video. So these hypotheses go hand in hand with Tinbergen's levels of analysis. So the first hypothesis relates to the causation level. So the birds are sitting up high as a result of a physiological response to a threat. We can relate this to the fight or flight response in wild birds. So basically, we spoke about this in the lecture in cog books. And the fight or flight response helps birds deal with stressful situations by preparing them to fight or flee. So maybe these birds did see a predator, a threat came into play with them, and they flew away really fast, got out of harm's way in that fight or flight response. And ultimately, that does help them survive, obviously. A second hypothesis we can talk about is the development level of analysis. So, in simple terms, the one I came up with this are the birds are learning to perch up high simply because they're observing other birds doing it. This is a great example because there's 2 birds here. So, maybe one bird was getting out of harm's way from something, and then the other bird simply saw his friend, for lack of a better term, on this telephone pole and copied his behavior. So birds are social learners, and it plays a role in shaping them. They learn from observing and copying behaviors, and this leads to a spread of new techniques throughout a population. So even if the first bird did see a threat, that second bird followed the first bird up on this pole, hypothetically, which, in the end helped him get away from a threat as well. So it works out for both. The one bird learns a new behavior and gets out of the way of a threat, and the first bird rather, got out of the way of a threat. So again, it increases the survivability of this species. So a third hypothesis I came up with, and this will bring us to our next video. So again, we have a mourning dove perched up high. We have the function level of analysis. So the bird is simply perching up high to observe its surroundings, such as scouting out a mate or protecting itself from a lower level predator. So this is obviously a type of predator defense, as we spoke about in the lecture. It relates because the animal is assessing the risk of predation, and it's making decisions based on the surroundings, whether there's a mate or a predator around. It suggests that they are able to risk assess the risk of predation and make their decisions based on their surroundings as well. And then lastly, that brings us to an evolutionary level of analysis hypothesis. So over time, birds such as mourning doves are more likely to survive and reproduce if they sat up high to observe mates and protect themselves. So obviously they had to outlive the dinosaurs somehow. So, all 3 of the previous hypotheses come into play as, they're able to adapt, and they're able to adapt and learn from each other. They're able to scout out mates when they're sitting up high. And, this all aids in the success of them as a species to survive, to outlive the dinosaurs. Obviously, the mourning dove, as we know it, was not around when the dinosaurs were, but still they are thriving today.